right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Fit Tech Tips. Today we have Jess Jursic, our Service Delivery Manager Whiz and resident astrology expert. When she's not solving IT issues, she's reading the stars. And today she'll be sharing tips and tricks on generative AI prompting. As always, today's session will be recorded, and I'll share a link to a brief survey in the Q&A chat, so please take a second to fill that out. I'm also going to be dropping a link to a helpful one-pager for tips on effective generative AI prompting, so you'll have something to take with you. So I'll link that in the chat as well. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the Q&A chat, and we'll do our best to answer those along the way. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to Jess.
Thanks so much, Mike. I appreciate it. I don't know that I'm a astrology expert, but definitely a fan, if you will. And so I know a thing or two maybe about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. As Mike said, we're going to be kind of exploring generative AI prompting today and how you can get the most use out of generative AI in general. So generative AI, just as a background, it's more like just your everyday chatbots. So these are things like your ChatGPT, or I'm using Copilot today. I believe Google has Gemini, and they're just kind of the AI assistants that are out there that are really kind of taking lead on kind of everywhere and becoming a part of our day-to-day life. And so getting the most out of it is really important, and understanding how to navigate the space and really understanding what all you can do with it. Because, you know, ChatGPT, we hear about a million different ways, especially, you know, in the IT world. A lot of people use it for helping develop code and things like that. But, you know, how can you use it in your everyday life? And goal of today is to just get you a little more familiar, give you some ideas and think outside the box on how to get the most out of this so that you can apply it as we kind of move forward, because these kind of AI tools are kind of exploding in our everyday lives and are becoming a part of other applications that we use every day. And so knowing how to navigate is going to be beneficial and critical as we kind of move forward into the future here. So, so what can you use it for? Generative AI chatbots are really, you know, kind of the next step beyond your just general search engines. When we think about Google, or even, you know, back in the day with Yahoo and Bing, and even going all the way back to Ask Jeeves, if you remember that, or I'm dating myself maybe. But, you know, when we look at those, that was, you know, kind of our first intro of like finding this new navigation space. And so with this, you know, now we have generative AI chatbots, and it's similar in the search way, but it does the research for you. It's your personal assistant, and it helps you navigate, you know, when you're looking for something. So a lot of times, you know, we'll hear about how you can use it to help you, you know, people say with resumes or things like that. But, you know, getting started, I'll kind of show you here just a general, very, you know, everyday use where you can help ask your chatbot to help you start drafting an email. So say I want to ask, you know, Copilot to go ahead and help me write an email saying to a client saying thank you for lunch. So can you So I'm going to go ahead and put this in here, and you'll see it definitely, you know, put together a thank you email. It can help you with some of that writer's block if you just want to get started. But if you look at it, it's pretty generic. And, you know, that will come over and you'll see it and you'll be like, yeah, that looks like a template email. So what you want to make sure to do is give some context. So when I say, you know, you want to avoid some pitfalls, this is one of those pitfalls. I gave very little context outside of the fact that this is going to a client and that we had lunch. So if I want to get a more specific email, then I need to give that context and those specifics to Copilot. This is my assistant. You know, think of it just like a conversation you would have with an assistant. And so looking here, all right, so looks great, but can we add the context that we had sushi and discussed an upcoming SharePoint project? The client shared thoughts on how they want to. So now that I've given this additional context, it's gonna make it that it's, way more detailed and gives all of that information. You know, it'll help me kind of contextualize everything and deliver the message I truly want to. Now, of course, a lot of times this is just to kick you off. You want to go ahead and take this and make it your own. So I would hit the little copy thing, throw it into an email, and then customize it to put the personal details that I want to convey in this. Now, I can also say, can I make this more concise or include a compliment about the sushi follow-up? But what if I want to just make it more formal? Can you make It'll restructure it to make it a more formal email. You can also go the opposite way and say, can you make this a little more informal? We're friends, and it'll help you out. So this is just a very, very basic way that you can use generative AI, and I think a lot of times the way that people think about it. So I want to kind of go beyond the box of that and think about other ways you could use it. So one good tip too is, this is great. We're going to start a new conversation. So I'm going to hit new chat. Always hit new chat because this is a conversation. You want to end that conversation to start a new topic. So hit new chat and start again. The new chat option should be available in all of your spaces. Again, I'm using Copilot today, but it's the same in ChatGPT. And you just want to, kind of clear that history, start anew. So say I need to make a one-sheeter about, let's see, one-sheeter about multi-factor authentication and how to set up Microsoft Authenticator. And I need to get started, just a how-to guide to help people walk through getting things set up. So what I'm going to do, can you create a one second? I'm going to go ahead and ask Copilot to help me out and get started. And what used to take me anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour, depending on the topic, Copilot's gone ahead and gotten me all set up. So I can hit copy and throw this into a document. And obviously, I'm going to read it over, always double check everything and make sure that everything is accurate and how you want to convey it. Don't blindly trust, but you want to go ahead and just copy this into a sheet, save it as your PDF, do whatever you want in terms of some edits or branding and whatnot. But it's helped you out, and you've already got this now ready to go. It can help you kind of streamline things, especially when you're thinking about in a workplace. How you can help train some employees on some basic things. I know I've seen a ton of ads for things like Scribe and that'll also help you do these things, which are wonderful tools. But Copilot, ChatGPT, they can help you out too. Just ask them and they'll go ahead and do it. So thinking about this, sure, these already exist on the internet. So if we want to look and say, okay, well, I could have just Googled that. So I could find my dinosaur background for those of you who attended some of my trainings before. But I'm going to go ahead and say Microsoft Authenticate. So I can search that and I can find it. But the difference here is this gives me a lot of different options. So I've got how to add accounts, how to set up Authenticator, and I've got different websites that I would have to go in and look for the one that I want to, actually put together. The difference with generative AI is it's looked at all those websites for you within seconds and pulled all that information together to deliver you what you want. So here, and you can always modify this because we're still in this conversation. So can you provide some troubleshooting tips? Yes. And go ahead and hit send. Now it's going to go ahead and give you some troubleshooting tips as well. So you could add that to your guide if that's something you wanted to. But it's not all about work. You can really have them do this for anything. So mind my mom car here, but can you give me a step-by-step guide to changing the oil on a 2015 Honda CRV? And it'll set me up with the guide here. So tell me how to change my oil, which I have no idea and I don't trust myself to do even with this, but at least somebody who knows about cars, they could go ahead and get this, have these instructions, understand, where these go, and it's going to pull the information for your car because I gave that context of it's a 2015 Honda CRV. I don't need to give additional context, and there is sometimes too much. It doesn't need to know that it's gray and doesn't have a sunroof. These are things that don't apply to this specific thing. So some other things you can use it for, say, my mother's birthday is coming up in 5 days. And sorry, Mom, if you're in this. And so I want to look about making a cake. So can you give me the steps to make a red velvet gluten-free cake? So, we've all got Pinterest. Well, I've got Pinterest still. And, I definitely would always just search Pinterest like red velvet gluten-free cake. I get a million different things and I'd look and I'd hear about Sally's trip through the Alps before I finally got to the recipe on how to make that gluten-free cake. But here, again, this is your personal assistant. It went ahead and looked through everything that for you. And here, no noise, no ads, no stories. Here's my gluten-free cake recipe. And it's going to tell me exactly what I need to do and give me frosting options too. And if I don't have buttermilk, what I can substitute with. Things of those things, that sort that can just save you time, make your life easier. Some other things you can do. I have found it very useful just in day to day when I'm running into things that, phrases that I don't understand. For example, earlier this year, I had an X-ray on my hand and I was reading the lab results and whatnot on my chart, and it said I had a osteophytic carpometacarpal joint, and I'm thinking to myself, I have absolutely no idea what that means. So I opened up ChatGPT and said, can you tell me what this is to a non-medical professional? Down for me. I have a bone spur in my thumb. That's it. And so, these types of things. Now, could I Google it too? Yes. But I, again, am going to have to open up the Mayo Clinic website and the Cleveland Clinic website and the Johns Hopkins website to and scroll around and try and find what I need. This is going to go ahead and say, sure, it's known as a bone spur. And it's, oh, okay. And then, that joint, it's your thumb. Cool. That's great. Now I know that. And it was quick, easy, copy paste, couple of seconds. So it's great in other senses too, if you're just kind of, I don't know about all of you, but for me, sometimes just blank on things and think to myself, like, I don't even know where to get started. So I have a niece, and say my sister asked me to plan her birthday party. So can you help me plan out my a birthday party for my 5-year-old niece. Now, I'm hoping some of you have caught this prompt was a little vague. I just asked for a 5-year-old girl's birthday party. That's it. And so it's going to go ahead and basically give me the instructions on, yes, here's how you throw a party. And I'm thinking in my head, well, I know how to throw a party. I know I need to pick a theme. I know I need invitations. I know I need decorations. Like these are party that's in basic instructions, which admittedly sometimes are helpful still. But if, as you see here, Copilot knows that, they gave a vague answer because I asked a vague question. It's saying, what themes should you choose? So I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there and see what they suggest because maybe this is where I'm blanking. So Copilot is going to go ahead and just give me ideas. Here's how you think of a theme. So her favorite characters, any hobbies, colors, recent obsession. So it's asking me to share a little bit more about her interests and guide me through this conversation. And really, what you are having is a conversation with your AI chatbot. It feels weird. I get that. But you really are having a conversation. So if I'm going to say, can you help me plan a dinosaur? Now it's going to go ahead and give me those more detailed instructions. So how to create a dinosaur themed invitation, some decorations, activities and games, dino nuggets for food, of course. And what some favors could be, all of these sort of things to kind of help me now visualize and picture what I'm going to do. But now I'm thinking, okay, yes, it's for a 5-year-old. However, this is a family party, and there are really only 5 children in the family party, and the next, everyone else is well adults. And so now I have to think, okay, but we want this to be obviously fun for the kids, but also for the adults to be entertained. So I'm gonna kind of change things around. And as you might have noticed before, I said the gluten-free red velvet cake. We've got some allergens in the family, so, or people who have restricted diets. So need to consider that as well. So I'm gonna pivot and give a little bit more context to really get to where I need to be. So can we or I'll just say this party will be mostly adults with a few children, and we so now I've given the additional context that everything needs to be gluten-free and nut-free, and that it's going to be mostly adults. So now it is going to go ahead and adjust my plan to where, okay, yes, we're going to have the veggie platter, fruit skewers, have some ideas for some main courses, desserts, and all of those things, and dino dig for for the activities, and then have just safety and supervision, those sort of things to ensure that all of all of the food stays, there's no cross contamination. Everyone knows what they're getting at, labels and things of that sort. So now I see here, the dino dig. What if I want a dino dig for adults? Copilot's going to tell me, and it will go ahead and tell me exactly how I can set up the dino dig for adults that can be fun and engaging. And it will show me, choose the space. Now, my niece's birthday is in March, and I'm in Northeast Ohio, so I'm not sure that I want to set up a sandbox in my apartment. So this would maybe better fit for someone's summer birthday to have outside. But either way, to show all of the different things that we could do. So enough about my niece and her birthday party. That you can utilize it is to think about, your time management or even at home. Um, I know I've heard of people that will open their Notes app and hit their voice recording, and they will just ramble off everything that they have to do if they're feeling overwhelmed, and let the, Notes app, or, let it just voice transcribe, and then copy and paste that and throw it into a ChatGPT or Copilot and say, can you, make this simple for me? Or, can you make this more concise? Can you put together a simplistic to-do list to accomplish these things? And it'll do that. So, say I want to think about how I want to manage my time over the weekend, and I've got chores to do. So you give me we'll say spring clean. So here, it's going to go ahead and give me those steps. If I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm like, I don't even know where to start, it'll give me all the steps on what I can do. So Saturday, we're going to declutter, we're going to dust, we're going to vacuum, we're going to do this. And then Sunday, we'll attack the bedrooms, living rooms, laundry rooms. They seem like basic things, but it really is, think about all those times in life that you're like, I wish I just had an assistant to like, keep track of this for me or lay this out for me. That's what generative AI can do for you. There are also just fun ways to use it. And the biggest thing I can say is make sure that you're practicing like any skill, like getting used to any new thing. You do need to practice and get used to it. So one way you've probably heard people using it is to kind of make up stories. So tell me a story about an owl, and we'll say a traveling owl, and his best friend who is a ferret. So now Copilot is going to write me a story. Here is an owl named Oliver and a ferret named Felix, and tells me of their journeys. So say I wanted to, and it gives me all of this information here and about their cave journeys and Crystal Lake and all those things. But one, Copilot's also asking me, do I want them to visit a magical city? How about exploring an ancient ruin, meet some other animal friends? But what if I'm actually, targeting this towards a younger child and I wanted this story for a 3-year-old? I can ask that question and say, can you make this, or I'll say, this looks great, because I don't want them to really change the context, but I want them to change the audience. Copilot will go ahead, or ChatGPT, any generative AI will go ahead and simplify things for you. So here it made a simpler version that is going to be more targeted towards a 3-year-old and what they will kind of take in and understand. These are really just some, again, fun ways that you can use it, but there are a lot of practical ways that you can use it in your day-to-day job. If you have a long email that you want to, summarize, or, you want to do any sort of thing like that, you can always throw it in here. But I do want to make sure that I do mention, please stay safe on it as well. Don't put any information out there that is personal to you. The way that these work is it is learning information from us as we're putting it in. So, I can't imagine a situation why you would put your social security number in there, but never put your social security number in there, just like you would never Google your social security number, or you shouldn't. But just keep a lot of personal details, client details, work details out. Stay general. It's very easy, as I, showed with the email, that I want to write an email to a client. I didn't give the client's name. I didn't say what client it was, or, their company information. I didn't say what my information was. it leaves those things blank for you, and it does understand that those aren't going to be generated. Um, Make sure you stay secure and using that, but mostly stay stay up to date and practice. Use it every day if you can, and you'll be really well prepped and ready for when things really integrate. And I know we're already there with a lot of Microsoft products in that Copilot. This is the Copilot chat, but Copilot for Microsoft 365 is integrated within, Microsoft Word and Outlook, and I use it day to day for Teams because in service delivery, a lot of times I get added to a chat after it's been going on for a day or maybe longer, and I need a quick summary to hop in and be able to, approach things. And so I can hit Copilot and say, summarize this chat for me, and it'll give you some bullets so that I can get caught up quickly. These are the day-to-day uses that really are coming in the future. And so the more you practice now, you'll be all set to go. So I think we've got a couple minutes left, and I want to make sure I've got time if there are any questions out there. So I'm going to turn it back to Mike.
Awesome. Thank you for that. It looks like we're pretty caught up on the Q&A. I have one more that I'm going to respond to, but I do want to be mindful of everyone's time and end on time. So I really appreciate that, Jess. Thank you very much. And then for everyone joining us, thank you for joining today. Remember, there's a link in the chat for the survey as well as a one-pager, so feel free to grab that and use that for your own help. And then thank you. Go forth and experiment, innovate, and most importantly, have fun with it. And until next time, happy prompting, everyone. See ya.
Everyone.